Slaying.
Salama family, salama. How y'all doing today? Hope you're blessed and highly favored. Today we're going to talk about judgment. We have here today with us is Brother Karis. Brother Karis, are you there? Say hi to the family.
Shalom, salama, siyami, shalom, family.
We also have today with us Sister Sheila. Welcome back, Sister Sheila. Say hi to the family.
Hey, family, grace and peace.
So before we get started, I want to read something, because it's good when people benefit, from your teachings and from, the revelation the Most High gives you. So this is from someone on my Facebook, and they said, in San Antonio, Texas as well, I was prepared for this more so than most because of your teachings about preparing for extended power outages and food shortages, including prophetic words given by others confirming this. 76 hours without power, and me and my children remain fairly warm because I purchased much firewood in advance, water, non-perishable foods, and emergency supplies in abundance. Thanks for your teachings and warnings from the Most High. So it's good. Thank you for the gifts, Sister Melanie. It's good that, the thing that we see, helps someone out, right? It's good that occurs. So, welcome, Brother Cliff. Say hi to the fam.
Shalom, family. How's everyone?
Welcome, Brother Cliff. So I'm going to share this article. Everybody knows about this. I'm not going to read the whole thing. But this is the big thing today, right? The whole storm in Texas, right? Texas water shortage adds to power crisis as new winter storm moves in. So there's water issues as well. You should see some of the photos of, water hanging from the ceiling fans and hanging from the roof and everything. So family, have you all, panel, have you all seen some of the videos and some of the images of what's happening down there in Texas?
I have.
And what is it, when you all saw it, what was your reaction to the magnitude of what we see?
The Most High showing them something.
So Brother Karis, but they told us that we ain't had to worry about nothing because we don't know nothing. There's no 400-year prophecy. There's no judgments coming. And that's what they told us. So what's your thoughts on that?
So when we open our mouths, the Most High listens. And so the faith challenge that I did on my channel, we weren't specific about anything. We just wanted to see the Most High show his power. And, throughout that week, as we had prayed, we made it a point to, think about the locations and ask the Most High, look, I don't know how you're going to do it. We weren't asking about the methodology. We weren't asking about, the actual results, because we wanted to have him to show his power. And honestly, it started at February 11th at around 6 o'clock in the morning. in the Dallas area, the Dallas-Fort Worth area, and that pileup that was caused. And honestly, you just saw it kind of go downhill. And now they've been this is now a week that they've been in this polar vortex, and look at where they're at right now. This is just, it's unbelievable. Unbelievable.
So, panel, is it a coincidence all of this is happening now? I mean, that's what they want us to believe. I mean, we've been seeing judgment upon judgment. We've been seeing, Rona killing people, and not only Rona, but the jab as well, killing people in mass, right? It's not really getting reported like it should. But I mean, along with this freeze and along with the Rona and along with other stuff we're going to talk about today, I mean, is it once again the Israelites got it wrong again, or maybe the Israelites got it right?
Judgment, I just think, and we know judgment is just falling on Babylon. I don't know how this country thinks it's going to escape any judgment. It's just amazing that there are people who don't see this for what it really is, whether they're Gentiles or, some of our Black folk. This is judgment. It's coming down hot and heavy. It's here. We in it. They in it.
What's your thoughts, Brother Cliff?
Yeah, I think we're in that second phase of Genesis 15. We've gone through the 400 years, and he said after that, the Most High said he would judge the nations. He said the nation, and I think that nation is the U.S., Babylon.
So that's a good point. So we know that what we're dealing with here is, the judgment of the Most High. Most people don't see it that way. But once again, it's not relegated to just the United States. In Athens, arrest snow blankets, Acropolis hosts vaccinations. Is that not interesting, right? That this whole snow situation, and it's not just in Greece that the vaccinations were halted, right? But it's in Texas as well. So heavy snowfall blanketed the Acropolis and other ancient monuments in Athens, caused power cuts and halted COVID vaccinations in the Greek capital on Tuesday, as the weather brought many services across the country to a standstill. So not only is it a judgment on the nations, is it possible, panel, that it's God's mercy as well, because it's stopping the jabs, right? What's your thoughts on that?
I agree. I agree because I do think about that. I'm like, one thing all this is doing is kind of slowing down that vaccination. And I do continue.
You mean the jabs? We got to be careful with YouTube.
Oh, I'm sorry. The jab. But I pray against it. So, it's slowing it down, and that's all right with me. So you're right. It's like you can see his mercy in some of this as well.
Any other comments, panel?
Hello?
Yeah, who's that? Say it with your chest.
Yeah, can y'all hear me?
What's up? How's it going?
I'm good. Just glad to be with the family. I just came in right now, so I didn't see what you guys were commenting on, but I'm guessing is it the stuff going on in Texas right now?
Yeah, you got it.
Yeah, that's pretty wild over there. I mean, just shooting off the hip, I gotta say, it's just judgment all the way around. I'm from Nigeria, as some of y'all might know, and dealing with power issues down there, that's every day. Like, they constantly were, rationing power down there, and that makes no sense, because that's actually the richest oil. I believe it's the richest. I believe it's the richest oil producing nation in Africa. I believe. I know at one point in time it was third in the world. At one point in time, my dad's a petroleum engineer, so that's how I know where it ranked. And he was part of OPEC at one point in time. But so the irony of it now, you know, we come to America. I've been here for almost 30 years. And, you know, you never even dream of stuff like this happening where millions of people are without power. And, you know, they say it's infrastructure issues and whatnot, but, you know, I can buy that for a few 100,000 people, you know, here.
Yeah, not
you know,
the whole state, right?
yeah. It's just, it doesn't really tally up with the narrative and all. But, you know, these are all things that they've been doing the predictive programming on power and EMP and all that kind of stuff for years now. So these are things you just gotta be ready for. You know, I got a generator. I'm on solar. You know, I hurried up and got the generator within the past year. Things are gonna happen like this, and it's gonna get worse. I feel for everybody out there in Texas right now. It must be rough, especially with the really low temperatures right now. You know, but I just gotta say, you know, because some people, they get into truth, they don't. You know, everybody's getting into the truth a little bit more these days, but people really think that, you know, we're dealing with humanity. I'm gonna say it like that. When you hear people like Bill Gates and people like that talk about depopulation like it's nothing, I don't even believe they're human anymore. That's just where I come from.
That's what I say too. I don't believe they're human.
Yeah, they're at this point, you know what I mean? We wrestle not with flesh and blood, as what the word says. So that's the level they'll go. They'll shut off power to millions of people in the middle of the cold. They have no regard for humanity, period.
Yep. So as we saw, as Brother Cliff was saying, you know, Genesis 15 talks about first, you know, the 400-year captivity, then judgment on that nation, and then reparations, or, you know, we come out with great substance. And it just so happens, right? You know, it just happenstance, right? It's just a roll of the dice. It don't mean anything, but it just so happens there's talk about the HR 40, right? Which is about reparations. It's not a symbolic act. Now, whether or not the Most High gives us the reparations through this mechanism or some other mechanism, we don't know, right? But we know we're going to come out with great substance, as the scripture teaches. But is it a coincidence, panel, that this is out at the same time all of this craziness is happening? And the other thing is, and we're going to go back to the judgments, but the other thing is, and I just want to get y'all opinion. I've been watching YouTube, right? I'm seeing a new black family every week going back to the continent, have a YouTube channel. I mean, literally, every week there's a new, they call them African Americans, right? Going back to the continent for good. Have y'all seen that? And what's your opinion on that and on HR 40?
The timing isn't it's not circumstantial at all, and we knew that was going to be the case, because remember, they had fought back so hard on it, and the problem is they're not going to fight back anymore, because they've already been showing themselves on out there with the more that they've been resisting and the more that they've tried to do things by their own hands, the worse it's getting for them. And shout out to Lisa Cabrera on her channel earlier today. She was talking about, you know, when they were trying to step up the lollipop giveaway program. You know, when they're trying to give away those lollipops.
That's a new one. That's a new one. That almost went over my head, Karen.
That's why I'm giving those.
You're not talking about the medicinal, are you?
Yeah, that's what he's talking about.
Oh, okay.
Those lollipops that come in needles, and
he talked about those incentives.
Yeah, you know.
Yeah, they had a bunch of those.
You know, no, I'm talking about, you know, people getting those bad lollipops, and they don't be making it after they be taking them lollipops. Those.
Yeah.
And Karen's gonna have some little kid listening. Mommy, can I get a lollipop?
No lollipops are bad. You don't want no lollipops. Go put in the grave.
No.
So,
Daddy say I can't eat no lollipops, Mama, because it's gonna put me in the grave.
It's got that DNA changing formula in them lollipops.
Hey, did y'all even hear? They was gonna give cash payments for the lollipops, but they was also gonna give you some, something to smoke and calm your nerves too.
Oh yeah, I heard about that.
I thought that was crazy, but hey, they'll go to any lengths these days.
They ain't got enough of money on this planet to give me a lollipop.
Yeah, that's for damn sure.
So what about this HR 40 thing, family? So, it's back up, and the government's talking about it. Now, here it says it's not a symbolic act. And now I'm going to read the first paragraph. For nearly 3 decades, my former colleague, John Connors of Michigan, would introduce HR 40 legislation, seeking to establish a commission to study and develop reparations proposals. Though many thought it was a lost cause, he believed that a day would come when our nation would need to account for the brutal mistreatment of African Americans during the chattel slavery, Jim Crow segregation, and enduring structural racism endemic to our society. With the rise and normalization of white supremacist expression during the Trump administration, the discussion of HR 40 and the concept of restorative justice have gained more urgency, garnering the attention of mainstream commentators and illustrating the need for national reckoning. My question is, okay, do you all think that, the whole issue with the Capitol riots, right, was a plus towards this? Because, now everybody can see that what we were saying is true, that these people crazy, that they'll kill you in an instant, hang you from trees. They brought a whole guillotine or a hanging rack right there on Capitol Hill. I'm like, do you think they're going to see it? Now, I don't know, because, the way I see it, I don't think these people have enough of a heart anyway to restore us until the Most High forces them to do it some kind of way. And I don't know if them seeing the judgments is enough until the final judgment of the firstborn, just my thought. What's y'all thought on it?
I think it'll be just like it was back in Mitzrayim when they were forced to say, okay, y'all can go. I don't think they're gonna be doing anything voluntarily. I don't look forward at HR 40 to be anything other than some discussion. And when it really happens that we are going out with great substance, it will be, I think, a move of the hand of the Most High.
So could it be that the reason why all of this push to have such an acceptance of the jab is because they know they're gonna have to pay? So the less of us that exist, the less they gotta pay. What's your thought on that?
I agree with that. I gotta say, yeah, some of us ain't gonna make it out of here, but I think the scripture touches on that, but they don't want us to leave, but they know there will be the Exodus. The Exodus is already, they know it's coming, and they'll fight tooth and nail against it, but they know it's coming. These are, the powers that be, not the average, not the average Gentiles, but even the woke ones know what's up now. But yet, it's gonna be like in Mizraim. When they do release us, they're probably gonna double back and try to get us again. Like, because I'm gonna condense this.
That's sort of what we see in Revelation 12, right?
Yeah, I gotta say this because I watch movies and I look for cues in movies and TV shows and things. And some just touched on me. I already knew. I watched the brother's channel. He said long ago, and I never watched a franchise or a series before. The whole Planet of the Apes series was pretty much about us. That was kind of obvious to me, I guess.
Yeah.
When I watched it, well, when I watched the new, the new ones, the new installments they did, the later ones, I believe, maybe War of the Planet of the Apes and the other one, Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. You see, they liberated themselves, and now they're in their own land. They went through a wilderness experience. Then they went to their own land, and I think it was the third one, the one before the last one, the final one. And then you have the humans come back to them because they're actually sitting on a dam, which is like an energy source. They came back to come negotiate with them like, hey, we need y'all energy. Like I said, I just touched on Nigeria being very oil rich. There's a lot of everything, every nutrient, mineral in the world is in Africa. So we go back, they're gonna come on hard times, and they're gonna come back to us like, hey, remember the good old times. You know what I'm saying? Something like
you
that.
know, we do see that in scripture that, you know, in Ezekiel 38, that while we're in the land and we're without walls and, you know, without walls, they're going to come to take a spoil from the people who came, you know, back from captivity. And they're going to say, hey, you know, they got all that gold and all that wealth and all that stuff over there, the stuff we used to take from them. Let's go take it again. I'm paraphrasing, but we do see that. Thank you for the gift, Sister Sahina.
It might be decades away when it happens. It might be, you know, there's no chronological, you can't ever put time on prophecy. But yeah, there'll be a time we'll be restored back in our land, and they're gonna come back. And then I believe, like the movie shows you at the very last movie, when they get wiped out by avalanche, pretty much all the humans, that's the end of them. They were fighting each other, and then an avalanche came and wiped them all out. So that would be, you know, the day of the Lord, I believe, you know, like Joel chapter 3 right there. That would be, you know, in the valley, you know, that would be their end right there. So
yeah,
we'll be in our land.
Yeah, go ahead.
But no, it's just funny. You see all these things in entertainment, and you got to really pick up on what they're telling you, because they're telling you a lot in all these movies. I really watch a lot of things, and I mean, I'm just seeing it everywhere in a lot of things, you know, as far as, you know, us getting away from them, different themes. A lot of themes in movies are very biblical. All these movies.
Yeah. I think they know a lot of what's coming, and as we've said, it's predicted programming, right? So my sister here, what's up, Sister E? How's it going?
What's going on? Can you hear me?
You sound good.
What's up, my bro? I have been saying I was gonna come out here because you finally doing something around the time when I'm off work. So when I saw it, I was like, yep, I'm getting on. I don't care if y'all was talking about cheese sandwiches and soup. I was gonna get on. So
you know, we were thinking about cheese sandwiches and soups, but we say prophecy might be better. So, Sister E, quick question.
What's up?
Looking at a post on Facebook, you know, that Dante posted, and you know, Dante was saying, look all this stuff, the 400 years, you know, like you said, captivity, then we have judgment, and then guess who answered? Abu said,
oh God,
well, how do y'all know it was 1619 to start counting and not before? I said, well, go look at the videos, you know, because I ain't gonna tell you. You know what I'm saying? So are they interested now that, and I didn't want to bring them up, but I just thought it was sort of, you know, interesting that he would comment on that, since they were saying we wrong all this time.
I think they scared. I think, and you know they watching, so I'm just gonna say, hey, Abu, because you know they watching. But I think they're scared because a lot of things that we've been saying, it's obvious now. I mean, you got this weather that's all over the place. I mean, in the South, it's snow like it's on the East Coast. You got the COVID that is just I don't think this is I don't think anything's gonna change. In fact, I think they're waiting for peace, and peace is not gonna come because they waiting for Biden to do what he's gonna do as far as President Biden. I don't think he's gonna be able to do anything. I think it's gonna fall apart. There's nothing they can do. This stuff is gonna fall apart by the hinges, and they know it.
But Sister E, I thought the rapture was supposed to come first.
When I say saints gonna be waiting for the rapture, and it's gonna be called the place of safety. And the good thing is they got to understand who the people are before they can even step into a place of safety. But man, keep waiting for the rapture, saints. Keep waiting.
So one thing, you know, we see all these judgments going on, and there's a lot of stuff that, you know, as I believe anyway, that a lot of these things are just going to get worse, right? The Bible says that, right? Birth pains increase with intensity, right? So we have this video. This is from, you know, the two preachers. I think a lot of y'all know these guys, right? Let's look at some of this. So that's just a few of the things going on. So, panel, is the Most High upset? Is he upset with the world? I just want to know, because it looks like the Most High is upset to me with the world. I think we all warned him. I think we told them how the Most High said he's going to come and deliver us with his outstretched hand, which is judgment. I mean, is it? Are we at the point now where they can say, okay, and I'm talking about everybody who dissed the 400-year prophecy? Are we at the point now where you think most people will say, well, maybe they're right? I mean, or are they still going to be hardened in their heart?
They're still going to be hardened in their heart, because the thing is, you have to admit who Israel is. And you don't want to admit who Israel is. So they will allow their hearts to get hardened before they say, okay, yeah, judgment is coming. Because what I can't understand is all the judgment we're seeing now after the 400. We didn't see after 1948, but we saw after the 400, which was 2019, 2020. It depends. But yet and still, we're still seeing things happen. Like, it's back to back, back to back. It's like there is no peace. There has not been a peaceful period since we hit that 400 mark. So,
and Sister E, hasn't it gotten worse?
Man, it's getting worse. I mean, you're talking about, we saw something January 6th we have never seen it's not even in the history books. The Capitol was stormed. I live in DC, and it's like they have it gated off like we are in a third world country. I'm seeing this with my own eyes. So you can't tell me judgment isn't coming. And it's just, and even when you're seeing the things that are happening in the church now, in the Eurocentric Christian church, it's like the Most High is exposing them. You know, you see the Christian apologist that just recently got exposed for his infidelities and his sexual sin. They've been doing this for centuries, but now all of a sudden they're being exposed. And the belief system itself is being exposed, not the faith, being the followers of the way, but Eurocentric Christianity is on top of his head right now.
But family, I want to know where the videos are on Ravi Zacharias. I'm gonna name his name, right? I'm like, where's the videos on that? Because if this was Israelites, right, they would have a bunch of videos, a bunch of memes, and all these type of things like they do to us, right? Where are they? And thank Brother Derek for the gift.
Well, you're not going to. I mean, look, we know who it is that they love to go after. We're the target. They're not going to go after their Japhetic cousins and family like that. That's not the curse. We are, and that's where I like to say it in your chest, say it with your chest had mentioned. We're the energy that they have to keep going for, and that's right. They are the spiritual vampires. So now that we're kind of getting out of that spiritual coma, and we have started to awaken and actually move our mouths and not just say, well, you know what, I know we're the people, but no, we're saying we know we're the people, and now we're proclaiming things and we're letting the land know. So see, before judgment can happen in the land, you have to have the people talk, and the people have to declare, and the people have to say, because God is a fair God. The Most High is a fair Most High. He wasn't just going to have them just walk into punishment and be like, well, there it is. You fell right in the open sinkhole. You fell right into the open manhole cover. No, he gives you an actual opportunity to understand what you're seeing. And then when you harden your heart, then afterwards, you're going to go through and you're going to get the full judgment experience. Now, whether you make it out of that judgment experience, that's the grace. But even after you make it, that's one of those things you have to find out, what is it going to be like for me if I don't cling on to the house of Israel? If I cling to this house, I know where I'm going.
Thank you, Brother Charles, for the gift. Now, I got to get my sister Sheila in here and get her opinion on this. Sister Sheila, what do you think about all this? I mean, are they going to wake up all of a sudden, or are they going to stay hardened in their heart?
I think their hearts are going to stay hardened. I mean, they're not going to admit it. I mean, they're not going to break. I mean, you look at, I've been looking at some of these videos on YouTube, and these people are still saying Trump is president and all that foolishness. These people are stiff-necked.
I know.
They not
I've seen that
breaking.
myself.
I mean, come on now. You know, you looking at stuff and they just keep pushing the prophecies further out. Okay, now the Lord gonna do it. They're gonna do something in June. By May or June now, something's gonna happen. And then some of them are saying, well, just give it all to 2021. And this thing is gonna turn around. These people ain't changing. They are so full of pride, hatred, and they can never ever going to be able to wrap their heads around the fact that God could love us, or that we are his people, and
Yep.
they're never going to accept it. So they're stiff-necked. They not going to bend.
Do y'all remember last year? Thank you, Sister Ann, for the gift. Do y'all remember last year when we said 2021 is going to be worse than 2020, and you all going to be like, I wish 2020 was back? Do y'all remember that? Anybody?
Oh
Yeah, I
yeah.
remember.
So I'm gonna show a few more from the two preachers of some of the things that's happening, and we'll continue on from there.
Hijo de las lomas para arriba. Hijo de ¡salgan! Como le tapa, mi Jim, Diosito Señor. Ay, los ganaditos. Aquí también se estoy este lado. Los ganaditos. Ve todito esa verga, ¿cómo es esa verga? Acá podemos observar cómo se encuentra en la cañada, podemos observar cómo está destruyendo los hogares, y acá encontramos a las personas que les tocó salir de las...
So we have a worldwide judgment, apparently, right? Mudslides, floods, earthquakes. Is that not what we saw in Matthew chapter 24, right? All at the time of the awakening of the Hebrew Israelites, right? The Messianics, and whoever else, right? Who of Negro descent, right? All at the same time. Now we have a dispersion that was global, right? From one end of the earth to the other, right? To the four corners, right? And what are we seeing? Because there's a prophecy that portends the return of the enslaved, the return of those held captive back to their homeland, right? So we have prophecies of that. And thank you, Sister Mary, for the gift. We have prophecies of that. And what are we seeing, family? Global judgment. Global judgment. So even though we are seeing global judgment, thank you, BD, for the gift. We're seeing these global judgments, and we've been warning. We've been warning it was coming. We can go back. But at the same time, although we've been warning, It seems like the days of Noah, right? It seems like the day of Noah. Noah warned for over 100 years and they didn't listen. They called them names. They laughed at them. Is that not what we see today, family? I just want to know. I'm like, didn't the Bible say as the days of Noah were? What do you all think about that? Are we in the days that are like Noah?
Most definitely.
We are.
I wanted to touch on something earlier, but yeah, I agree with everything Sister Sheila said and Sister E said. Basically, they're not going to admit we're the people. I mean, well, they will. They're going to be forced to, but they don't want to, and they know it. Even the ones that are in the lowercase c church, as y'all say, they know it right about now. I think a lot of them know it, but they're holding on to, I don't know, maybe the rapture still. I don't know what they're holding on to, but they don't want to admit it. And I feel like, I don't know what's going to come first, if they're going to have to admit that we are the people and then we leave, or, reparations. I don't know the order of how it's going to happen, obviously, but somehow, because they don't want to admit we're the people that could have been spared and clung to us and see us leaving, it's almost like Abba Yah's hardening their hearts. So, they won't see that get out of jail free card. They're going to miss it because, they're stuck in that delusion that, the Yah's putting over them.
So in order for the prophecies to be fulfilled, like in the Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 5, they are shocked that we are the people, right? In Wisdom of Solomon, they say, are these the people? Are these the chosen ones, right? I'm like, so in order for that to be fulfilled, then they can't really believe who we are, right? I mean, what's your thoughts? Anybody? Y'all remember the Wisdom of Solomon?
Yeah, no, I agree. That's what I'm saying. I mean, they don't want to believe we're the people, and they're holding on to that, and that's what's going to lead to their destruction. Because honestly, when this whole thing started, if reparations was already being talked about in 2019, and about 2019 it was already kicking into high gear, and that would have been a mass exodus possibly at that time if it occurred then. Ghana already had the year to return going on. So, people might have just said, hey, I'll go buy some land in Africa. It could have happened right then and there. And, we know, the prophecy, they don't want to let us go that easy. So they're going to be forced to let us go. But they could have done it. All the money they spent with all these stimuluses and third stimuluses and all this and that, they could have easily just cut us a check and, we'd be out of here. But
they all say they're believers, though. They say they're believers, but they don't see and understand that these signs are judgment on the nations. Neither do they understand why these judgments are coming. That's sort of weird to me.
Spiritual blindness. Father Yah is not working with them like that. If he was, they'd have humbled themselves and they'd be like, like Brother Robert and Brother Dana. There's a lot of them that are like that. They're just not, maybe they don't have a platform. They're not as vocal, but I've met some good ones, but I mean, that's not the majority at all. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly. That's true. I think Brother Robert packing his bag, Brother Dana Stevens packing his bag, and Brother Barry packing his bag, because they all see this stuff happening and know it's almost time to go. I think it's almost time to go. What do you all think? You all think it's almost time to go?
I think it is. It's so much going on. I mean, when you look at the fight, and it goes back to your original point you were making about, I forgot who made it, about us being the people and who we are, that they would rather receive judgment than to accept that, the Most High, we are the descendants of the ones that he speaks of. You think about Romans 8:19, they say the world is mourning until the sons of God appear. And I'm just paraphrasing. The interesting thing, they always tried to blanket it and make it seem like, oh, it's just the overall church. No, it's his people. That's when we get the revelation, they gonna want us to come. Then they're gonna be like, something has got to get us out of this mess. I think it's deeper than, what we think. But I know with us being the people and who we are, it disrupts their entire system and their hierarchy. Even when it comes down to the concept of church, you don't even understand that. They looked at us like we were animals, not human. So the worst nightmare they could ever have, if they wake up and realize, well, these are the people, we've dogged them out, our ancestors dogged them out, what wrath is going to come upon us? And what they don't realize is the repentance part is very important. But because they're so stiff-necked and they don't want to repent for what they did, judgment is going to fall on them. Y'all know me. I ain't big on just like judgment, but judgment is going to fall on both sides. Because you got those who look like us that don't, that think that, I'm not going to say we aren't the people, but don't believe that judgment is going to fall because of what was done to their ancestors. They don't want to believe that. That's their worst nightmare. But I really believe everything is wrapping up, because revelation is really coming forth when we watch TV, even down to when we read the word of God. The things that we were taught, we go back and reread and understand who the people are. It changes our whole perspective of what it means to be in the midst of the last days. And again, I cannot say this and say this too many that much. 1948, when that happened, did we see revelation roll out? No, we did not. Life carried on. In fact, the economy got even better. So that's my point.
Well, yes, Sister
go ahead.
I wanted to kind of highlight a lot of the stuff that you're saying. You see, we're looking at the symptoms of what we were as a people before we got taken out and scattered into our Babylonian captivity. Think about that. This is what Jeremiah was saying. Look, we're going all around thinking that we know something, thinking that we're better than what the Most High had said. Because Amos has said it, or excuse me, Isaiah had said that earlier about what was going to happen to Judah. And look at that. We went a generation, and then that same judgment happened to us, and we went through the worst of it. Now, what we're seeing here in terms of this spiritual blindness, in terms of really a madness that's on over them, we're looking at it like, how come they can't get it? But remember, we're literally just looking at a reflection of what we were back in our land, of what we were under the house of Judah, under the house of David. And that's how we're seeing ourselves of what our ancestors had done. This is why we have to cry out and ask the Most High to not just forgive us, but to forgive the sins of our ancestors, because of that vanity that caused us to go into destruction. Because that same spirit of vanity is on them, which is spiritual blindness, and they're headed straight towards whatever conveyance of how they're going to be shipped throughout the world that we had undergone. And I'm not sure if it's going to be on boats or ships this time. It may be on something a whole lot different in terms of that conveyance.
That's true. Mr. Nate Nice, thanks for the gift. And family, if I missed your name, thank you for the gift. So one thing that interests me is, as Israel matures, because I think we as a people are maturing, because we're revisiting the scriptures and, we're digging into the word of the Most High Yah, that we're moving away from what I call snippet doctrine. Do y'all know what snippet doctrine is?
I know what a snip is.
Please do not start that snip stuff. Don't. I will get off this chat right now.
That was a good one, Sister. So a snip doctrine, that's what I call it, right? When you take just a verse and you make a doctrine out of it, right? And so a lot of times you will see that people will take a little verse, post it on some meme and say, okay, here, see, y'all wrong, here's what it means. And really it's not in context, and they don't keep it in context. And so they come up with a whole doctrine and try to prove you wrong on your position when you're reading the scripture in context, right? And getting what the message truly was. That I find that in Eurocentric Christianity a lot, right? That snippet doctrine. And so, I think with Israel, I think all of us are learning how to reevaluate what we were taught by Eurocentric Christianity, and bring that to a more what's the word?
Cohesive, maybe.
Yeah, that's the word. Thank you. A cohesiveness, right? More of a cohesiveness. I'm gonna share this video with you because this is something that was happening in Louisiana, and it happened. This happened before a few years ago, when we were having those ice storms. So there's a lot of stuff, weird stuff happening in the world, and let's look at it. Now, something similar was happening. I think it was back in 2017 when, I was still in Texas, and they were having this happening here in Louisiana, in Metairie, in Kenner. And do you all remember that? I don't know if you all remember back then when they had that ice thing in 2017, and something similar. Now, what are your thoughts on this? I mean, is it the cold causing this? Is it, something environmental, in the atmosphere, in the heavenlies? I mean, what are y'all thoughts on that?
I sleep with my tinfoil hat on, so y'all gotta bear with me. I'm always on the conspiracy side of things.
You said tinfoil hat.
Yeah, that's me all day. I mean,
we'll get along fine.
Yeah, I know, Yacoba, but everybody's not there like that. So what I mean. So
Yeah.
some things just go over people's heads. But like HAARP. I mean that if y'all don't know about HAARP, look that up, because I mean that is really some of the things that are going on, as well as I mean obviously the blood waters. That's the blood rivers and all that. Yeah, but a lot of the weather anomalies. I watch a lot of different channels still on the Truth Binge on a and I got to shout out one specifically because he's doing some really good work right now. Ice Age Farmer. He's not on, probably you can check him out on YouTube, on BitChute or Odyssey now. They're trying to shut him down on YouTube, but he lays out basically the whole war on food. And, basically when everything happened in Texas, we lost about 45% of our crop of wheat. We've been selling a lot of our crop of soy and all kinds of things to China for years now, and claiming that we have more stock than we do. I mean, this whole, there is a famine coming. Everybody knows that, but it's very engineered, obviously. The weather stuff deliberately seems, he pointed out, to have kind of hit very rural farmland areas where a lot of crop is being produced also. So they're things are like a synergy. Everything's working in concert. It's not just, random, we're just going to take down Texas or take down, Arkansas, or take down this or take down that. You know what I mean? They do things with a purpose. And, when you see things, through that kind of lens, and you really, really look up the data and look up, things on a very, very deeper level, you'll get to making a lot of connections where people just, watch the news and they don't really get it. You know what I mean? They don't see that, this new story connects to this new story, connects to that new story. I mean, but yeah, that channel right there, he lays out pretty much how, they're trying to get. And I mean, you got to have a foundation and little things about, you got to see where they're going with the whole Agenda 2030. That's where they're going. You know what I mean?
Well,
so if you know where they're going, then they're going to do, everything to get to that end game. That's what they, so
yeah,
it doesn't matter who's in office.
Yeah, I believe that the whole Agenda 2030 is the deadline for the mark of the beast. I don't believe in that. I'll discuss this tomorrow. I don't believe what we see today is the mark, but I believe it's the foundation of the mark. Like I'm going to say tomorrow, basically, it's more like Damien, right? Remember the movie Damien? He was a little Antichrist kid.
The Omen?
The Omen. There's the little Damien stage, right? And later on, they're going to try to meet the Antichrist stage, mark of the beast, stuff like that. I'll get into details on that tomorrow. But I think, as you were saying, say it with your chest, is that all of this stuff is tying together, right? Because you increase the death rate of the people, right? You make them fearful to get the jab, right? And now all of a sudden, you have, you make them fearful on the stability of the union, right? By, invading Capitol Hill. You make them fearful of the lack of food, right? Because they're literally destroying it, right? So when you look at what's happening right now, if you go look at Texas and some of the other places, those store shelves are bare. And according to the information I have, a lot of the trucks are stuck on the East Coast, right? And some are stuck, sort of northern. And so they ain't from California. They can't get here, right? Because everything is iced over. So like, for instance, yesterday I wanted my wife to go get me some Popeye chicken. They didn't have any Popeye chicken. Why? Because the trucks are stuck, right? And they can't get here with the deliveries. So it's the same thing when it comes to the stores, right? They can't get, their goods because the roads are iced up, right? So once again, if your store has something, you might want to get a little extra, right? Because I mean, we've been telling you, stock up, get a little extra.
I'm very stocked up on, I was stocked up as soon as everything happened last year in March. You know what I mean? Once the lockdown hit, I went out and did as much as I could. And then, as things kind of subsided a little bit, I just kept always adding on to it. You know what I mean? Slowly kept adding more every month. You know what I mean? And that's all I can advise people to do. You can't do everything at once, but if you're going to get that stimulus money, this is a good time to stock up as much as you can, because the shortages are coming. This forecast is not looking good at all on the food front. And I got to keep saying that because, literally they're trying to starve people out. I mean, already people are losing jobs, and when people don't have work, we already know the plan is to make you, on a universal basic income. That's another thing people need to look into. You know what I mean? They want to give people free money for doing nothing, but that's going to come with the jab, obviously. Exactly. That's the whole. So, everything's going to come with the jab. It's like, it might come to a point where you're not even able to go into the store and buy food unless you have the jab, and that's coming. So, you got to stock up as much as you can now before the prices go through the roof. So
Exactly. And that's why I said, if the Most High doesn't come soon, we're in some serious trouble, really. Now, according to my understanding of the prophecies, right, the next thing that's coming is a global war. What do you all think of that, family?
Yeah, it definitely is a global war. I really believe what's gonna lead into the global war is the lack of resources. If you think about it, where is everybody right now? And I always bring this up, is in Africa, because of what? Lack of resources. Africa is the only location that has the necessary resources to sustain life without going outside of their borders. So it's telling you something's going on where they're going to war. It's not just war just for the sake of war. It's war to control resources. So
So they talked in the past. I mean, I know say it what you chest probably knows about these conspiracy, what they call it, of the solar minimum, which is where the sun does not, basically it cools down a bit and the earth is cooling down. And there was talking about how this solar minimum would come and basically destroy the food supply. And some believe that we're in that stage now. I don't know, but in my gut, in my spirit, I feel that just as when COVID came and we said it's never going back to normal, I sort of feel the same way when it comes to the food supply. It's not going to go back to normal, even to what we had last week. What are y'all thoughts on that? And let me just say it with your chest opinion first.
Here, like I said, y'all got to check out that channel, Ice Age Farmer, Bit Shooter Odyssey at this point, because he knows he's getting shut down on YouTube. He also has iceagefarmer.com, but he touches on the whole manipulation of the food market like thoroughly. So y'all can get everything you need to get about that and see how engineered it is. There's no, I mean, they're literally shutting down farmers at every level, you know what I mean? Just, well, meat production is the key. They want to shut that down completely. Actually, just farming, they don't even want anybody. They want you eating all the synthetic food, basically all the GMO stuff.
Bill Gates trying to make synthetic meat.
Yeah, that's exactly where it's going. I mean, they know it's going there because they're the ones putting in all these laws. And Biden got in office and signed a lot of executive orders. I think they said he signed something like 50 executive orders already. And that stuff is like, pushing everything ramped up in that direction. I believe I was watching, I said the channel I just shut out, and he touched on basically you can't just hand over your inheritance to your child without it being taxed and stuff like that. He touched on how they want to get the farmland out of people. Now they signed an executive order, Biden did, that basically you have to pay the capital gains on that property, the land, if as a farmer, before you can pass it on to your kin. And farmers aren't millionaires, not the average farmers. So you might have wealth in the land, the property's worth millions, but if you can't pay that money, you're gonna have to sell that property. That's what's gonna happen. So they're hijacking people now out of their farmland. They don't want people growing crop. They don't want people to they want to control the food source. They literally, the beast system coming is literally tracking every piece of meat, every piece of lettuce. It sounds fantastic, but nah, that's really what's going on. Like, that's really what they're writing legislation on right now to do. So, I mean, people need to be aware of these things because, if I get people to watch stuff like that, I can't even tell them that if they really sit down and take that information in, they're not even going to want to be in here in Babylon anymore. You know what I mean? Because it's like, damn, is that our future? No, I don't. I mean, spiritually, I bought a house here like 5 years ago. I mean, it's a nice house, but I'm like, yeah, I'm not going to live in this. You know what I mean? like I don't really care. My brother just bought a house, but we're at different ends. You know what I mean? He still sees a future. He's doing well, so he sees a future like as if things are gonna recover or something. Like, spiritually, he's not where I am. And I've told him everything he needs to know. So I just pray that y'all will work on him. But
so quick question, family. So Jermaine asks, so we should be talking about connecting, organizing, and networking in order to help one another get through these things coming. What do you all think about that? I mean, how could we network? Is it possible for us to even do so?
I think we're doing that right now, in a way. And I mean, we'll be doing more of it,
So do we have family in here who are farmers? And if so, we need to find out who you are and where y'all located, right? So that we can go to you all. Now, the other thing is, not only do they want to control the farming, right, and do the capital gains on the front for that, they also want to do it for stocks and investments. They want to do it where you have to pay the capital gains before you take it out. So if you leave it in there, and let's say you put in $5 and now you got $10,000, before you can take out your $10,000, you have to pay the capital gains, as opposed to taking it out and then paying your capital gains like they're doing it now, right? So this whole thing is a system of slavery. Now, you know, I'm trying not to go into my show for tomorrow, but basically what they're setting up now is the means to enslave the world. Now, according to and I'll talk about it tomorrow, you know, I don't want to get into it, but according to the Pope, remember the Pope said we were supposed to be perpetual slaves. That means forever and forever, right? And so what they're doing is, in order to enslave us, they have to enslave the world, right? And they're putting that system and mechanism in place right now. Now, the good thing is, we know what the scripture says. We know that the Most High is going to save us and deliver us and bring us back. And we're going to the continent with the most resources of the whole world. What's your thought, Brother Cliff? What's your thought? Anybody? Let's go with you, Sister Sheila.
Yeah, we're gonna, you know, the Most High is he's just gonna work all of this out. We're gonna come out with great substance, like he said. We have no doubt about that. You know, I just don't know how exactly it's gonna be done. Like we were saying, I don't believe it. They're gonna willingly do it. I do believe that they are trying to, like you said, shut the whole world down in order to get a lockdown on us as well, so it won't be so obvious what they're doing. But we know what they're doing.
Brother Cliff.
I'm having a few technical problems on my end, but it kind of reminds me of what my dad told me when I was a young boy. He said, in order to hold a man down in the gutter, you got to stay down there with him. So this whole thing is going to affect them too, and I believe they know who we are and are trying to hold us back from going to the continent. They're giving us stories about the variant of the COVID happening in South Africa, and like they've been trying to scare us all these years. Now that we got folks going over there, producing videos and telling us how nice it is over there, they had to come up with a new narrative to keep us afraid to go to the continent. And so they kind of hold us back with the movies, with the news, and it's all predictive. And I think that the Most High is going to work it all out. Like I said, he'll bring us out with his strong hand, you know. So we just got to depend on him. But in the meantime, I think we should prepare to get ready to make that move, you know.
So let's even talk about this, right? Let's talk about the Gentiles' responsibility, because I know everyone doesn't see what's happening. I know the revelation of the judgments on this nation and world is not there, right? I understand they can't see, they can't hear. But for those who can see and those who can hear, you must understand what the requirements is for this to end. And to go back to normal is for us to leave, right? To give us our reparations, to cut us our check, to let us go back to where y'all took us from, right? Repentance, right? That's part of repentance, is turning back from what you were doing and doing what the Most High wants you to do. So if you're tired of the whole thing with the jab, right? And them trying to enslave you, because look, y'all have no idea what's coming. These people are wicked beyond imagination. I'll get into it tomorrow, but they are wicked beyond imagination. You have no idea. And here's the thing. If it wasn't for the prophecies, I'd be concerned. If it wasn't for the prophecies, I'd be like, look, just let me go home and be with the Father, because I'm not dealing with this foolishness, right? That's where I would be, right? But because I know the prophecies and I know that Yeshua is going to get us out of here, I'm cool. But I don't know about y'all. You see what I'm saying? I know y'all hate us like that, right? Y'all don't want to see us prosper. But do you want your kids to be under this Luciferic, satanic world order, these judgments that's coming upon you, the lack of food, no access to water, right? All of these things that you see happening, these frozen judgments, these earthquakes, the floods, everything being destroyed. your normalcy in life is going to be destroyed, right? Do you want to continue with these judgments, or do you want to let us go? Any comments on that, family? Should they let us go so that this stuff can end? Because guess what? Right now, we're suffering with you, but not as bad as you are, right? Because the Most High taking care of us, right? So we're suffering, but y'all suffering more, and y'all going to increase in suffering. Brother Karras.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, Karras, and then brother, say it with your chest.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, see, they know that everything's increased, and everything that they've been trying to plan for, that they were trying to roll on out, their solutions that they were going to have, has all been failing. And they know that if they were to admit who we are, instantly their world collapses. And see, they know that they would rather go to the grave than lose power. And that's the sad reality. That's the sad reality. That's why it says in the scripture, look, all of a sudden in an hour, that's all of a sudden in 1 hour, it's fallen, because the Most High has to catch them off guard. Because here's the thing, they're not fighting really us. They're fighting the Most High. They're fighting the Most High because they believe that they can actually beat the Most High. That's what you're seeing. When you see the whole Mars thing that they had, that's what they're trying to prove, even though, there's issues with that. But that's where they are trying to say, look, we have everything under control, and see, nothing was going to ever get to us, because, we can fight against God. We can fight against this judgment. And in my honest opinion, I believe they already know that we're the people. They will do everything that they can to not say it. That's why the scriptures say what? Every knee shall bend, and every tongue shall confess that Yahusha, that Jesus is Lord. But here's the thing, they're not talking about a white Jesus in that scenario. They're talking about us as a people, and Jesus coming out of us.
Yep.
This is the thing that they absolutely will never say. That's what's hard in their hearts. This is why, look, they're going to say it to the very end. Don't think that all of a sudden they're going to change. No, absolutely. Because again, this is their heaven. This is why they were saying, New Jerusalem, New Israel. This is why. So they made their intentions known. Hey, look, we're going to strip you of your identity, and we're going to take your identity, and we're going to wear this thing on out till the end. Till who says so? Till God himself takes it away. And they listen, family, they mean it. Don't think that they don't say that just because. They literally mean it until God himself. And that's why when you read the scriptures and you're seeing how God's judgment unfolds, it's him that does it. Look, I'm going to tell you this, and I haven't addressed this on my show, but I'm going to tell you this. If it wasn't for the Most High doing this thing by his arm, we would stay in captivity for the next 1,000 years.
Yep, exactly.
Definitely.
And that's why he said he would do it. Because I'm going to tell you, family, we love the oppressor. We love the captivity. We may say, oh, no, we don't. No, we don't. Yes, we do. Yes, we do. But the problem is, see, they can't make it comfortable anymore. So in that uncomfort, we're now crying out. That's the whole reason. Honestly, that's it. He had to make us uncomfortable because we would gladly just sit here. I don't care if they killed him. As long as they don't kill me. I don't care. As long as they don't kill me. Right?
Yeah, like a Walker.
I got to say, though, I mean, I agree with everything you just said, but we really didn't even have options. I mean, you go back to the land, it's still bad over there. It's not, it's we're seeing it getting better. Like, the hearts are starting to change in some of the leadership. But I mean, you didn't have much of a choice before. You know what I mean? People are going out there and they're making the best of it now and doing things better. And people are just fed up with the states and whatever Western nations or other continents they might have landed on. But it's rough all around for Israel everywhere. And I mean, I believe the enemy, Satan works alongside with Yah when it comes to judgment. And, God always raises up another people to judge the people that he's upset with. That's biblical. Every time, he'll raise up this kingdom against this kingdom, and that's the way it goes. So, Minister Yacoba has already did excellent work with the whole protocols, the Ish people. And I mean, they have no regard for the Gentiles, even though, I don't know if you consider them Gentiles. They're whatever classification they put themselves in, they want to enslave everybody.
Yep.
And, they've already put their groundwork down on that. And that's the plan they have for the, Yah's going to deal with them too. But I mean, in the end, they look like, well, okay, this is time to implode the whole system. Like, if you notice the lockdowns and, everything is really being targeted at the UK and the US. In the UK and the US, basically, I mean, that's been the world powers for the last 200-300 years. I mean, the US is just a child of the UK. Even today still. But I mean, so this whole system is being deliberately destroyed, and Satan is doing it. It's almost like judgment. When judgment happens, God will use the enemy. Well, I won't say he will allow the enemy to do the things against you. You know what I mean? That he's in alignment with, because you've been sinning. So for all the sins that Babylon has done, now it's going into captivity. Now it's losing, its wealth. Now you can just look at the homeless problem. I'm pretty sure everywhere anybody is. I saw the homeless thing exploding. I'm here in California. I saw it exploding about 5 years ago, and it's getting worse every day. They don't talk about that on the news, but you just see it.
Exactly.
Jobs aren't coming.
So I want to share this with you all. French President Macron says American woke theories threaten France. French politicians, journalists, and intellectuals are concerned that woke theories from the United States on race, gender, and post-colonialism pose a serious threat to France. According to the New York Times last week, top intellectuals joined forces to fight what they regard as contamination by the out-of-control woke leftism of American campuses and its attendant cancel culture. The movement comes months after French President Emmanuel Macron criticized the theories. The Times pointed to remarks made by Macron in October, which the news outlet summarized as calling woke ideology an existential threat that fused secessionism, gnaws at national unity, abets Islamism, attacks France's intellectual and cultural heritage. In his speech, the French president warned about separatism and the erosion of topics that the country once excelled in teaching as a result of the importance of American woke theories. And in so doing, we have left the intellectual debate to others, to those outside of the Republic, by idolizing it, sometimes yielding to other academic traditions. Macron warned, I am thinking of Anglo-Saxon traditions based on a different history, which is not ours. And when I see certain social science theories entirely imported from the United States with their problems, which I respect and which exist, but which are just added to ours, I say to myself that it is reasonable to make this choice. And so we must very clearly reinvest our massive skill in the field of social sciences, history, understanding of civilization, by creating posts, by stepping up dialogue, academic and scientific debate, in order to not to allow the knowledge, the understanding of Islam as a religion of the civilization it underpins and its contribution to our country, our continent, and continent to become ideological and exclusively political debates. So we know that wokeism has to do mainly with African Americans. It started really with us. It started with our plight, emphasis given during the Black Lives Matter, emphasis given during the woke church. We even see the white pastor saying that wokeism is a problem. But we know here that Macron's problem is that Black folks are waking up from the European brainwash, right? Africans are awakening from the European brainwash, right? Same thing with the fact that the president of Ghana stated, look, we're going to get our money and our wealth from the diaspora as they come back. So now he sees it. Basically, France is getting shunned now. They're scared of losing the resources. They're scared of losing control over the Black folks, as they refer to us, right? Because why? Because they know without us, they're done. Without us, they're screwed, right? And they would be willing to take down the whole continent if they could, and all Black folks, which is what they're trying with the jab, right? Because now that we're woke, they know we're not going back to sleep. What's y'all comments on this, panel?
I had go ahead, Sheila.
No, I was just gonna say this awakening can't be stopped. So it's going forward. They scared. If they take us out, if they lose us, like you say, they lose everything. They lose everything. We buy more, we consume more, we just, they'll miss us greatly. So yeah. And France is quite a racist country.
It actually is. I've traveled to France quite a few times, and on every single one, I was always pegged to be some sort of a terrorist that had extra screenings, and even when I was traveling on behalf of the United States. And so, if you've actually ever been to France, if you've actually been to Paris, there's only certain nice places in Paris. The other parts are very, they're not very good. And the country is 60 million and it's very sparse. So a lot of agriculture, a lot of farmlands and things of that nature. But again, they don't have enough. They really don't have enough. And they have to get a lot of their agricultural products imported to them. So they know that they haven't been able to have that financial and economic security that they once had, because that was all blown up under the Trump administration. And so now you have Macron basically saying, okay, well, we have to now provide a counter to this ideology. And I believe that what's going to happen is that they're going to find the counter. But because France is actually more historically connected with a lot of what we're seeing, especially in our history books, as we have gone back and seen our legacy in the European continent, they're going to tell on America. I mean, that's the reality. That's actually where it's going to. So, the noise and the rumblings that has gone on is basically going to cause the rest of the nations outside of America to sit up and say, well, wait a second. What's going on here? I thought that this was wrong. I thought that this was this and this was that. And that's a reality that they quite simply don't want to have disturbed. And so, hey, they're going to fall in the trap. It was all a trap set up by the Most High. And when they go through and they try to work on defeating the principle and ideology, they're actually going to end up fueling the fire. I mean, that's how it goes, because their history books even portend to who we are. They have it in French, they have it in Spanish, they have it in Portuguese, they have it in Italian. They know who we are. So I welcome it. I think that's honestly great. And that's a move by the Most High.
Yep. Hebrew girl, welcome aboard. How's it going? Let me unmute you. All right, there we go.
Okay, Salama family. I've been watching on the TV and looking at the chat on my phone. And when you brought up that article from Macron, I was like, oh, I got to say something because he was talking in code. He said woke people, but the same thing is happening over there. It's happening all over the world. He's saying it's in America, but he's talking in code, and to me, it sounds like he's saying we need to up what we're doing. We need to go faster. We need to, do more because this is getting out of control. And he said Islam. It's not Islam. It's like you said. It's us.
Yep.
So he talking in code. That's all I wanted to say is that he think everybody's stupid and they don't know. We don't know what he's talking about, and he telling them, "Come on, let's hurry up. We got to get these people out of here. We got to kill them. We got to give them a shot. We got to do whatever we got to do to them to get them out of here."
And I agree, and a lot of our people gonna fall for it, and they're gonna go get the jab, and then a few weeks or a few months, if they're lucky, a few years, but things aren't going to be the same. I mean, we see over and over the videos of people who having bad side effects, right, from that jab, and it is war against us, right? They could not come with the military equipment because the whole world would be like, why y'all taking black folks out like that, right? So they had to do it on the slide. The devil is slick, right? And he's not going to be direct. So family, we're going to have some final comments. We're going to start with you. Say it with your chest. Any final comments?
Let me see. I think I said, a lot about everything going on. This judgment is here, and they're not gonna willingly admit who we are willingly, but it's gonna come. There's gonna be a global awakening to who we are, as Revelations, I think 3:9 says. There's those that say they were Jews. He will make them bow at our feet, and to know that He has loved us. So the whole world's gonna see it. It's gonna be very obvious, and I guess maybe at that point, and maybe everybody will be okay with us being, excluded from the slavery coming upon everybody else. I don't know. But I just want to say one thing, take this with a grain of salt. I'm not here to give anybody health advice, but anybody dealing with any respiratory issues, I'll put it like that. I had pneumonia and complications back in January, before the quote unquote situation we're going through right now. And I met people that had similar things. And, honestly, I had a very nasty bout with a fever first, and then I had a persistent cough that wouldn't go away. And I'm a very healthy person. I'm into natural medicine, homeopathy. I watch what I eat. I mean, I do a lot of things that are, pretty extreme on the health side. I don't even use a microwave. I'm that extreme with it. But I got sick, and I don't really get sick often at all, really. So when it hit me, it kind of stunned me, and it took me down pretty hard. But the only thing that kind of got me through it was using a steam inhaler. I'd advise people to go get that. I know people that went to the doctors and were told, oh, get a humidifier for the home or something like that. But a steam inhaler will pretty much kill pathogens. I'll put it like that. They can't survive past a certain temperature in the body. And even if you're not going to reach that temperature using steam as a treatment, it will severely weaken it. It gets high enough. So I advise people that's my little tip, take it what you will. I'm not trying to get, shut down like Jim Baker saying I got, remedies, but that's something people can ponder on. I used that, and in 2 days I was fine. And I was struggling with this, tried everything I know to work for almost a month. And I mean, I did mine with distilled water, put a couple drops of colloidal silver in there. So I just wanted to share that with the family in case anybody's dealing with anything.
And the other
And
thing is,
that's all I got to say, man. You know, y'all stay blessed, and looking forward to seeing y'all in the land. And you know, it's quite a time to be alive.
yeah, thank you,
We have a
brother, for
hope in the
coming
future.
on.
Thank
And
you, Mr. Ankova.
all right. And the other thing
Thank
is,
you for everything. I thank you for everything you do, because I know you're very passionate about, you know what I mean, getting everybody together in the community, and waking everybody up. And I mean, you've been at it quite a while, and I mean, I know it must feel, it's weird, it's not a good feeling to see all this happening, but when you were telling people for so long, and now they can actually come to you and talk to you like, wow, you were right. It's not you, it's Abba Yah working through you. But it's, I mean, you're doing his will. So
thank
we
you, my
have a
brother.
peace of knowing that.
Yeah, like I said in other shows, when the people benefit, and it helps out the family, that makes it all worthwhile. Because like I say, we all go through a lot of stuff, and people don't know what you're going through. But it is good to see that, as the scripture says, your work isn't in vain, right? So, and one other thing I wanted to add to what brother said, what your chest was saying, is that what I use as well, which helps a lot, is a diffuser with frankincense, right? Especially with something in your chest. That seems to help out a lot as well. The other thing that seems to help when it tries to get in your chest is iodine. And there's another thing, elderberry helps as well. So you have to build an arsenal, right? You have to build an arsenal of health, because there
Touching
are
on that right
after us.
there. Yeah, iodine. A lot of people are deficient in iodine. I've been taking iodine now for about 3 years. But yeah, a lot of people have iodine deficiencies. There's a lot of things, just I can tell you're on a naturopathic, homeopathic tip like me. So a lot of these things, obviously. But I mean, yeah, there's just, you got it. The whole core is just having a strong immune system, vitamin D, vitamin C, I mean, zinc, at the basis,
Yeah,
at the
zinc,
very
definitely
least.
zinc. Yeah.
Yeah. But that's,
Zinc will
that's all
stop
I have to
that.
say, man. Thank you for having me on, brother.
All right, brother. All right, brother Cliff, any final comments?
Yeah, that's interesting what brother said with your chest mentioned. That's about the 4th time I've heard about the steam, and it's probably something to that. I've been blessed enough not to have any respiratory problems like that, but that's something to keep in mind. And thinking about France and Marcon, that kind of perked my ears up a little bit, because I think it was 2019, around December 24th. I got my results back from African ancestry, and it came back that my ancestors are from Burkina Faso, the Bissa people, and I read about it, and it seems that France is kind of like controlling that area, So I'm thinking, how will it be when the Most High puts all of the Gentiles out of the land? And so that's one thing I've been keeping my eye on, to see how that will work out. But I believe that, if we look at history, we can see where everywhere that our people have gone has built the economies of those nations they went to. And if we left, I mean, for instance, back in the transatlantic slave trade, we were the economy. They built Wall Street off of trading slaves. But if we up and left, out of all the nations that we've been dispersed to the 4 corners of the earth, that would portend those nations' downfall as well. So I think, what we're seeing being reported in the news, with whatever snippets of news we can rely on as being true, then we will see, if we pay attention enough and are astute enough to decipher between the code that they use, we can see that the Most High is working rapidly, and I don't think it'll be long before we see our exodus, and we come out with great substance from all the 4 corners of the earth where we've been dispersed. And keep up the good work, brother Yacob, because I've been listening to you for a while, and I'm glad to be able to converse with you. And it seems like every time I hear you. I get some new information. So keep it up and stay blessed, brother.
All right, thanks for coming on, Brother Cliff. Hebrew girl, any final comments?
Problem my phone when I missed some of what was said. You were talking about supplements or about being healthy, and I went and got this. This is my own commercial. This is a immune booster with echinacea in it and some other stuff, and this really helps. But my final comment is that I think that the time is getting short, and I'm reading through the Bible, and I'm in Exodus now, and I was listening to the whole book of Exodus earlier today, and I was listening to the things that the plagues, and that the people's heart, Pharaoh's heart was hardened. But I noticed that even when the people went into the wilderness and they asked, they were complaining and asking Moses for food and for water and stuff. The Most High knew that they needed those things, but He didn't give them to them until they asked. And so I think now for us, Karis mentioned that we cry out, but I think we really need to tell Him we ready to go. We want to get out of here, because until we ask Him, I don't know how long these plagues are going to happen. I don't know how long, but I believe this is when He acted was when His people asked Him. When His people, He said the cry of His people had gotten great. So I think that we have to really, really cry out to Him for the end to this stuff to start coming, for the plagues to really start happening on them, where they can't deny us and let us out of here.
I agree.
Yeah, that's all I want to say.
All right, thank you, Sister Hebrew girl. All right, Sister, where is she? There she goes. Sister E, any final comments? You there, Sister E? All right, I'm gonna move on.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
I was on mute. Hold on. What you want me to answer?
No, we were just asking any final comments.
I love y'all family. I want to say that I'm enjoying us coming together and learning amongst each other. I will say, Israel, let your light shine so people can see our Savior, which is Jesus Christ or Yeshua HaMashiach, however you call him. But allow people to see that light in you, because that's what they want us to see. That's what He wants to see, that light, because we are supposed to lead people to Christ. And that's what I love about my brother Yakoba and everyone on this panel, that we never forget about Christ, because we ultimately know, Israel or not, if you don't have Christ, you're lost. So that's all I want to say is love y'all. I'm just so excited to what the Most High is about to do with us and reveal to us in these last days. As it's the last days for the Gentiles, we're about to enter into a new kingdom, which is the kingdom of Christ, where He'll reign and we will reign with Him. So I'm just excited. I am so excited to what's to come. But I will say, hold fast to what we're about to see, because the things we're going to see are going to scare us. But understand that if we are His people, He's going to keep us. So that's all I want to say. And I love y'all so much. And thank y'all so much. And thank you, Yakoba, for letting me get up here and cut up with you. I enjoy it so much. So
Sister E, you got the master key. You could come in here anytime.
I'm the triplet. They're triplets, y'all. Not twins, but triplets. I was added on to the family. So
thanks for coming on, Sister E.
All right.
Sister Sheila, any final comments?
Yeah, as usual, always enjoy the talks. And I just want to say too that, we have to just always remember, with all this crazy stuff going on and all this wickedness, that this, our enemy, they're wicked, they are ruthless.
Oh yeah.
And Yeshua said, some folks ain't gonna taste of death till they see me. When they see me standing on the earth, when they see me cracking through the clouds, then they'll be like, oh. So we just have to remember who we're dealing with. It's crazy times. It's exciting. It's kind of scary at the same time, but it is exciting because we know that our redemption is drawing near. We just got to stay close to the fire. We just, like everybody been saying, take care of ourselves, pray for one another, keep our heart clean before the Most High, and just keep looking with great expectation, keep reading our word, drawing close to Him, and just be encouraged.
Thank you, Sister Sheila. All right, Brother Karis, any final comments?
Yeah, family, just remember, listen, fear not. Okay? Fear not. All right. This is a time that you see them in fear. And with them in fear, you understand that there's a different spirit on you because there literally is. It's like when you literally have awakened, you have shaken off the spirit of Babylon and you allowed the spirit of the most high, not the lowercase g. We're talking about capital G. We're talking about big G. And that's where we're seeing. Because remember, they're still set up in that old world system, the Baal system. And we were all up under there too. But it's amazing that when our spiritual scales came off and we're able to see this thing, we were being told, y'all are crazy. You have no idea what you're talking about. What is it that you're talking about? You know, and we were being demonized because we're reading the scriptures. And it wasn't being read with that Eurocentric lens. Because with the Eurocentric lens, this this couldn't happen. It shouldn't be happening. And that's where they're at in this disbelief. Why is this happening? And when you're telling them, it's like when you had the priests coming on up, the guards coming on up to seize Christ, and they said, you know, who's Christ? And Christ said, here am I. I'm he. And remember, they fell back because it's a supernatural thing that they see us dealing with, and we're not talking about any type of pagan or demonic things. We're literally talking about prophecy that the Most High Himself has said, that the Most High Himself has stated. So when they get mad because they feel a certain way, you just have to remember, look, they know that their time is up. And it's going to be a day. It is going to be a day, family, that they're going to be coming on out and they're going to be asking what's really going on. They're going to say it. And if you don't believe me, look at all those videos and stuff on TikTok and things of that nature. They're asking the questions. They're contemplating on it. And it's just a little bit more because the ones that haven't been given totally to their vanity, they're starting to wake up. It was us first. And now this time when they're so close to, you know, total destruction, then that's when you know, something's really happening. But I appreciate you, Minister Yacoba, for having me on. Sister E, Hebrew Girl, Sheila Jackson, and you know, Cliff J. It was great being on the panel with you all. Thanks again, because these discussions are much needed, and we need to continue to pray and encourage each other. Shalom.
Thank you, Brother Karras, and thank you, panel, for coming on, and thank you, Sister Massey Hills. Thank you for the gift. And family, make sure you know, if you have the ability, right, get a little extra stuff, right, because we don't know how this year is going to end, right? So as I mentioned before, and thank you, Cassius Robinson, for the gift. As I mentioned before, it's better to have a little something than nothing, right? Better to have a little something than nothing. Yeah.
Can I say one more thing?
Sure.
Oh, okay. The other thing that I wanted to say was I noticed there's a lot of people that are leaving here that are dying, good and bad. And my daughter and I was talking about that today. I think what the Most High is doing is He's allowing people who won't make it through what's coming next to go home. And He's also judging and taking people out who need to be out. So it's two things happening at once. And so I think that in this coming days, in the coming time, you're gonna see a lot of people starting to go home. I think we already starting to see it, and I just wanted to add that in because along with what's going to happen, I think that's the cursor to what's going to happen. There's some people going to leave here before it happens because they can't take it.
Well, you know that there's a scripture that says that's the case, right? That that the wicked glorifying the fact that some of the righteous are taken out, but the Most High stay. And some of you all in the chat probably know the chapter and verse, but the Most High says, you know, I took them to protect them from the judgment to come.
Yeah.
Right. And so, you know, and I look at this like, even, you know, with my dad, he died 2 years ago. And I don't think my dad would have been able to deal with all of this, right? With the viruses and all of this stuff. Because, you know, he was going through what you call it with the kidney stuff, what you call that? The blood transfusion thing.
Yeah.
Dialysis. That's it.
Dialysis.
He was going through dialysis. And so, you know, I think the Most High had mercy, you know, and I would see that with a few people. I say, well, they were your people. And I said, if you look at it, I don't think they would have did too well through this. And just think about it with the whole Rona thing, how they were bringing people to the quote unquote hospitals, and some of them people didn't come back anyway. Right. So you couldn't really trust them, you know, some of these places. Right. You know, and I was watching one video where this black nurse in the UK was confronting this white doctor because she was like pretty much saying the guy was done. And she was like, no, he was just sleeping, but you was trying to take him out. Wow. Right. So it's like you got to be cautious with where you send the elderly. Right. Because there's an agenda. So thank you, Hebrew Girl, for coming on. Thank you, family. And all of you all who gave gifts, thank you very much for that. If I missed you, I'm sorry. But thank you for all the gifts. Peace and blessings, Israel. Your captivity is ending. Love you with the love of the Messiah. We're going to do this again. And tomorrow I have the show dealing with the Mark of the Beast. We're going to talk about that. You got a little snippet from it today. So love y'all. Peace out.